Well, thank you for joining today.
No
How
problem.
are you?
I am doing well. Listen, I just beat my face in 10 minutes, so I'm feeling like a miracle. Okay, I might go turn some water into wine after this because
I know that's right. When's the last time you had to do that?
it's been a couple weeks. It's been a
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of no reason.
yeah.
I've only shaped up this beard for the exact purpose of doing these lives. Like I wait for Thursday and Sunday. That's it. That's a wrap.
And you said
Yeah.
like multiple times a week, right? Because there were so many different events and things to do.
You save some in your budget too, your makeup budget.
That part.
I mean, yeah, there you go. Well, thank you for being on. You are, just looking at your resume, for those who don't know you, you do a lot. You got a lot going on. You got a lot of achievements on your belt too. Um, let's go right into Kennesaw State.
Yes.
The first African American Student Government Association president. Tell me about how that felt and how that happened.
So it's amazing because I didn't even try to. That wasn't my goal when I joined the Student Government Association. I just wanted to be a part of something bigger than myself, which is a big narrative for a lot of millennials. And I got in and I did what I said I was going to do, and people respected that, and that stood out to people. Then I started getting awards, getting promoted. I ran for positions and won. And yeah, so a lot of times if you just do what you say you're going to do, things will.
Yes, that's so true. Ah, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. What was the motivation? What was the thing that you said you were going to do that you stuck to? Let's go from that.
Well, when you say motivation, I got to call out my father because, listen, my dad, he was an Army veteran, did 22 years in the military,
Yes.
retired, went back and got his bachelor's, went back and got his master's. Now this man is getting his doctorate. And
Come on.
whole family, right? So he told us basically we have no excuse not to be successful. We're standing on his shoulders. So anytime I think of a motivating factor, it's a matter of I can't let my dad try to play me because he would always be like, how am I getting A's and B's, raising a whole family, and you bringing home anything less than that?
Yes.
So, yeah.
I know that's right. Well, kudos to your dad. I know you grew up in a military family where your dad out of Augusta.
Yes.
What was it that really was the instilling force in the house? Like, what was the motto in the house?
Servant leadership was the motto. Like, we were voluntold to help out with. So my father's a preacher. My mom is heavily involved in the church. Things as small as singing in the children's choir. My mom's the choir director. Those things instill something in you. It instills resilience, and it instills being ready for any moment.
Yes.
Because I have two other sisters, and if nobody else was going to know the notes, we were going to hold down soprano, alto, and tenor. And I remember just learning to be flexible. They had me on the usher board. I served all over the church. And, that's how I actually ended up starting my nonprofit. I partnered up with one of my best friends. He was a PK as well. And we just grew up with that as a pillar in our household, helping others, serving. And I didn't know for the longest if that meant that I was going to end up being a preacher, being a preacher's wife, being the head of the usher board. But like when I got older, I realized that it was a matter of me leaving the pulpit, leaving the choir stand, and going out to the community and actually helping other people and bringing God's light to others.
That's awesome. Yeah, you definitely have your good first lady style. You got you got that you got that down. Okay, I am here for it. What is the thing that drives you? Because servant leadership was in the house, but what is your own personal mission statement, if you will, for your life?
I have so many, and those have translated into Pretty Boss's mission statements. Become your best you.
Yes.
Embracing my boss. Leaving it all on the table. Because there's so many times where that imposter will come in and say, you're not enough, you didn't do enough. But my thing is, if I can, no matter what I do, whether it's a relationship, a job, a task, a project, a business, as long as I can say I did my best, I can have peace.
Yes, absolutely. 100%, right?
Mhm.
Where are you now with Pretty Boss? What is like your main driving force for that right now?
My main driving force is when I look at the stats, to be honest, when I look at that we're the most educated subsect, when I look at we're starting businesses left and right, but on the other end of that spectrum, I see that we are lacking funding for our businesses, lacking mentorship, that it's hard for us to break that glass ceiling. I'm realizing that we have to be our own heroes. We have to build communities. We have to give each other best practices, and that inspires me. And having my own experiences where I've been told I'm not good enough, where I'm in a boardroom and I'm the only one that's a woman, the only person that's a minority. Those things are hard and hard to go. So just being a voice for my group, for connecting other women together, it has been everything.
I love that. I mean, you have been. What are you referring specifically to Kennesaw State, or are you also referring to your time at General Electric?
So GE, I if I've had experiences. I've worked for 3 Fortune 50 companies, and I've had experiences at two of them. So the
Mm,
thing about Kennesaw State University is, right, I was the first traditional student, a black woman, to be student government president. So
mm,
I was revered in such a high regard, right? And I could walk in rooms and I had instant validation instantly. I had credit. But when I went into corporate America, it was not the same. You know, some people might be looking at you like, okay, you helped us get the quota. Some people might be like, how did she get in here? She didn't go to an Ivy League. I went to Kennesaw State University. Like, we didn't even have a football team at the time, so some people might not have known about us. And yeah, so it was a culture shock for me.
mm,
So that was some things I just had to get used to. And then some people just don't know how to talk to people or how to talk to someone of color. So
mm.
that training is just needed in different places. And I've been at some companies where it was worse than others. I've been at one company where on MLK Day, someone said to my face, "Is this a real holiday?" And those things stick with you, and it hurts, you know. And I did go to HR, you know, but things like that, you have to have a community where I could go to my sisters, my pretty bosses, and say, "Hey, this experience happened to me. I don't feel right about it, but can I leverage your experiences and see, has this happened to you? How do you feel about this?" Because I don't have all the answers. Like, I need the group just as much as other people need the group, because corporate America is hard, and it's. I would like to say a lot of times it's not just one company. That's why I'm not singling one out, because sometimes
Yeah.
it's within a company. Sometimes it's a specific manager, and I've learned that because there's one of the companies where that happened. I would go to the other side of the building and there's black people just walking and smiling and happy. So it's not the whole company sometimes. Sometimes it's really just that person.
That's good stuff. For you being able to navigate that, what has been the greatest technique that you've used to be able to go in those spaces and maintain your posture?
Emotional intelligence has been everything. And that was something that I learned at General Electric, just because it was very high stakes a lot of times. I remember my first role, my manager left and they were like, "Okay, Rosalyn, now it's your turn to run this $1 billion business." I was like, "Y'all, I was just in college that could come on." Like, and y'all sure y'all want to do this? All right, cool, we'll figure it out. But emotional intelligence has been everything, because just because I'm stressed out doesn't mean that I get to cuss you out. It doesn't mean
Mm,
that I get to send you nasty emails. That's not how that should work. Writing, I have my Pretty Boss journal that I use.
yeah.
I love the insight. I did this on purpose. God doesn't call and prepare; He prepares the call. That lets me know that even in those moments that are hard, I'm being prepared. It's a
Yes.
my own personal process, my own personal journey. Praying throughout the day. Listen, there's been times where I've gone to that bathroom and I've said a good old prayer. Well,
I know that's right.
because
Yes.
we have to be able to, we have to understand we have to leverage something bigger than ourselves, because I know for me I can't do it by myself on my own strength. As dope as I am, I can't. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm glad you know that, because a lot of people assume that they have to be everything and do everything and all of that. Like, the truth is that you really can't. There is no way to do that. We are created to have support. In fact, as you mentioned earlier about the Bible, like God even said in the beginning, it's not good for a person to be alone. Like, at the end of the day, you need support. We all need support in whatever endeavor we're going after. And so, to really be fruitful in your life, you have to have the support of somebody with you along the way. That's why I'm glad that you did start Pretty Bosses. And I know, what was the inspiration for the name itself? Because I know that was one of my questions that I had early on.
That is a great question. So I graduated college, and I'm working for this big fancy company, this Fortune 50 company. And I started this nonprofit, and people started asking me, "Hey girl, how do you do all this and still look good?" And I kept getting the question, and I was like, just because you're smart, just because, you're successful, does not mean you can't be fine. Does not mean you can't turn heads when you walk in the room. And, I people don't understand that there's a balance to it. And I love wearing heels, and I love getting cute and doing my hair. I don't have my nails done because I'm still waiting. I don't know yet. But like, I love just looking nice. It makes me feel good. Also, my mom, she's a super Southern belle, and she was a beauty queen. So it's ingratiated in my DNA, to be
I
honest.
know that's right. I'm not mad at you for that.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I was curious about that, but that makes sense. I mean, people get that all the time, and then you see the most successful people, and they have, it seems like, zero sense of style. So that's awesome. That's awesome that you can balance the two so well. What is your personal style? Like, when you look at yourself in the mirror, what is the thing that motivates you and inspires you to do what you do in your wardrobe?
I define style as business sexy. So I want to look nice and look classy, but I also want, a young gentleman that I'm interested to be like, oh, what does she look like underneath that? But, work to 10 and 5. But, business sexy, I'm covered up, but, yes.
A little mystery,
A
a little
little,
chic.
yes.
I get it. Well, since you brought that in, let's go ahead and jump in, Business Sexy. How is it right now for you, being such a dynamo of a woman, and running your business? How are you doing when it comes to love and relationships?
So I am single. I am single. This is my single season. And when I tell you, it took me time to embrace that part of my journey. And if I had to be honest with myself, I can't tell other women to embrace their boss, which really means embrace their journey, if I'm not embracing my single season. Because listen, when it's time for my relationship season, for my
Yes.
business season, my marriage season, mommy season, I'm going to go at it 100%. So right now, I'm embracing it and I'm enjoying it. Is it hard sometimes? Did I want to have a Valentine's Day? Yes. But I have to enjoy it, because there's going to come a time where, it's not just going to be Roz. I'm going to have to be considerate of someone else. So I'm enjoying it and I'm embracing it.
Oh, I love that answer. That was spot on. Like, a love coach's dream to hear that, somebody admit that and embrace that truth. Like, you got to know what phase you're in. You got to know how that phase is important. Like, I always say, singleness is really alignment. So your single time is to become aligned with who you are, what you want, what you need, what you desire, what's more important, what you can handle. This is the time. Like, singleness is the time. Singleness is also selfishness. It is your time to focus on you. It's the only time that you get, out of all the phases of love, that you really get to focus on you and you alone without having to feel bad. In dating, you're made to feel bad. In relationships, you're made to feel bad. In an engagement, you're made to feel bad. In the marriage, you're made to feel bad. Even in divorce, you're made to feel bad if you're being selfish. But in singleness, you get the gift of selfishness. You get the opportunity to truly love on yourself 100%. Do whatever you want to do, when you want to do it, how you want to do it. And that is how you learn what you want. So I'm glad that you said that. I'm glad that you realized that. I'm glad that you woke up. Hopefully somebody listening to this is catching that same thing. Not to be bitter in your singleness, but to understand the season is a necessity. It is a foundation. I'm telling you, your singleness is a foundation for everything else. If you have a weak single life, I promise you, you will have a weak relationship.
And I made
Just
a
gonna
promise
be-
to myself that I would no longer dilute my purpose to make someone else comfortable. And I
Mm,
myself doing that because God has called me to help other people, and a part of that is speaking life into other women, speaking at events, keynoting at conferences. And I remember someone that I dated in the past. They were like, "Oh, speaking is so stupid." So I'm trying to fit in with my boo, and I was like, "You know what? You're right. Speaking is stupid." Meanwhile, I was speaking death to something that God had already spoken in my life. So I made a promise to myself during my single season that I would no longer dilute who God has called me to be.
yes, you can't do that. In fact, that is exactly why singleness is so important, because you will end up changing your assignment. You will change your assignment in the interest of trying to appease someone else. You got to come in confident about what you're called to be, because at the end of the day, the reason why somebody is truly meant to be connected with you is because your assignment aligns with their assignment in some way, shape, or form. And you're able to walk that path, that journey, that love journey together successfully. And if you allow somebody to cause you to detour off of yours, you will never end up happy, fulfilled, successful. Truly, you may find success, but you won't be happy in it, because only on your path are you really happy and content. So I'm glad you see that. I'm glad you recognize that. I'm glad that's clear.
For sure, for sure.
That's big. That's big. Because a lot of people watching this right now are in situations where they are trying their best to hurry up and get a relationship instead of be in a relationship with themselves and learn themselves and love themselves. So what do you say to your pretty bosses? Because I know they come to you with relationship stuff here and there. What do you say to them when they're trying to balance their career and relationships?
Listen, I can't give you all the tea. Y'all gonna have to join the Pretty Boss Facebook group, because conversations. When I tell you, like all the way down to will you let somebody else make your man's plate? We break it down. Like, and the thing is, I'm super Southern, and as boss as I want to be, I believe in certain gender roles. And for me, like growing up, Thanksgiving and Christmas, like
Yes.
no one else is gonna make your man's plate. That's
Nobody.
feel like a king, to make him feel special. And like, so we have those discussions, because some women are like, you know what? Nah, he got hands, he got feet, he got eyes, he can figure out what he gonna eat. Like that's just what do. So we just break out just all different scenarios, and I really appreciate the group, because we really don't limit it to anything. We break it all down.
Oh, somebody said nope. You better make better make that plate. You better make that plate. Let me
Okay.
tell y'all better make that plate.
I feel like, oh, who made that? No, no. Mm-mm. That's my plate now. I'm gonna go make your plate.
Hello. You know what? It's so funny, because a lot of these, I get it. You're from the South, and we do have a lot of traditional things that are very much so customs in the South. What are some things that in your Southernness, as a millennial woman, you have been able to say, you know what, maybe not that anymore?
Ooh. Things that I've let go.
I threw that one on you.
Listen, that was that, because I can think of the things I've held on to, but let go. So being successful, like there are times where I will offer to pay for a dinner or a date. It's not going to be the first date, or probably won't be the second, but and then a lot of times I find that the type of guys that are attracted to me, they'll be like, no, I got it. And they'll let me pay for maybe a coffee or something small. But I'm finding that I want more of a partnership instead of a just the man pays for everything. So that has been something where I've kind of twisted the rules a little bit. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. I remember serving, and I had a couple that were about to pay, and the bill came. I dropped the check, and the young woman was like, I got it, I got it, I got it. He was like, all right, you got it. So she went to the bathroom, and he called me over. He was like, brother, come here. I was like, what's going on? He was like, I'm sorry about that. It was like, what are you talking about? He was like, no, you don't understand. I apologize. That was a lot. She did a lot. No, I was like, that was really nice. It's a modern woman trying to pay for the bill. It was like, no, you don't understand. I was like, what don't I understand? It's like, it's a joint account.
Ah, she was great. Okay.
Right. The modern woman trying to pay for the bill, it's a joint account. Right. So, yeah, he would have got his butt whooped if she knew that I knew that. But I get it. Like, that is one of those things. And that's why I asked the question, because this is a new time and a new era, and there are new expectations and relationships that are just based on old techniques and old tactics can work, but both people have to be in the same mentality. And if they're not, then you'll see some struggle. Have you encountered struggle when you were on dates over that?
Honestly, I've been pretty lucky with dates. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, it's been a rarity to have a quote unquote bad date. Like, and I want to say this because I took a year off from dating. I had a bad breakup, and I was like, if this is what love is, I don't want it. So I took a year off from dating, and during that year, I elevated myself. I began to love myself like never before. And once I started dating again, the type of man that came into my life was on such a different level. And I was like, I was asking my friends, I was like, what happened? And they told me, you're vibrating on a higher level, so people only vibrate that level are going to be attracted to you. So I don't have to worry about a man opening up the car door, opening up the door to the restaurant, the door to this establishment, or wanting to cover the bill. Like, that's the type of man that I'm attracting. They want to, treat me like the queen that I am. And I do the same in return, because I want to show love as well.
I'm glad you said that, vibrating on another level. A lot of people don't realize that it is your energy that attracts the thing that you want. The truth is that your vibration is what compels people to treat you the way they treat you and handle you the way that they handle you. Your queenness is going to be compulsive for somebody to treat you in that way. And so, I am so glad that you said that, because the vibration is so real. People don't realize how much it's not about the other person, because that same person could not do that for somebody because they felt that energy from them.
Mm-hmm.
So it is you. It is always you. And that is always what I teach. It is you. 99.9% of the engagements you have are about you, not about them. So while you're pointing the finger, you got all these fingers pointing back, because it really is you.
And I don't know about you, but I treat some like Old Navy flip-flops and my Louboutins, I treat them different.
Absolutely.
So I'll let that sit however you want to let it sit for you.
That was a good one right there. That was it. Hello. So red bottoms, you don't just walk everywhere, right? You don't walk everywhere, red bottoms.
And you put them back in the bag. Then you put them my flip-flops, they left at the door, okay?
Left at the door, and fine with it, and okay with it. I'm loving that. Look, when you vibrate higher, what do you do to keep your vibration high?
Those promises that I made to myself when I took a break from dating, make sure I don't break those. Understanding that there are times that I just need to sit by myself, be alone. Honestly, I miss the sauna so much, because I used to just sit there, and that was a time for me to break away from everything, to break away from the noise, the phone calls, the meetings, the events, the makeup, and just be one with myself, one with God. I loved when I was in the sauna by myself, because I would pray out loud, and it felt so good to just connect with God. He would give blogs to write, things to say, and those moments are everything for me.
I love that. I mean, that's the right way to go. Go back to source, because in that source is, the easiness of life. I was talking about this earlier. The easiness of life. Life is meant to be easier. It's not meant to be a struggle. And by tapping in and aligning with that source, you are able to find the easiness in life and in love. So I'm glad you like I said, you are on it. You are so tapped in, tuned in to what is. I can tell that your church life, your daddy being a pastor, I can see it all over you clearly. Clearly. Yes. What's next for you? Next for me,
So, something that I definitely want to say is this pandemic has taught us that savings is not optional. And for me, I know that I even did a poll with my pretty bosses. Again, I got to plug the group. We're almost at 1,000 women. We have 900 group, and it's coming from all over, majority in Atlanta. But I did a poll with them. I said, where do you need the most help with? And they already said savings. So I was like, you know what, let me build out a budget, and not be some generic budget that you can find online, but a budget that talks to the millennial businesswoman, one that has a debt elimination schedule, one that has budget analysis to it, one that just gives you tips and tricks and challenges you on how much Starbucks you had this week, how much Chick-fil-A you had this week. I had some today, but it challenges you on all those different things, and that's on the website now. You can find it prettybossllc.com under the Pretty Boss Institute. Listen.
That's so bad. It's next door. I can't help it. It's next door.
And we all know they be donating to the president.
I know, Jesus. But it's next door. It's next door. I just walk over there.
It's so bad.
Help me, Jesus. Help me, Lord. Yes. But I'm glad that you created that, because that is having those practical tools. That's exactly what people need in order to get what they want. That gorgeous Jasmine said, you better plug. She's doing the right thing. She on an interview. She better plug. If you didn't do it, I was going to make you do it. It was going to be like, look, push your stuff. But that's the necessity that we need. We need practical tools for a generation that is short on really the inspiration to read and go out and research. Like, the difference between the people who get it and the people who don't, or just the people who don't put in the effort to look. Because everything, I had one young lady I was interviewing, she was like, everything's on YouTube. Like, she was like, I built my whole business on YouTube. Like, I learned everything everything is there. And it's the matter of going for it. It's the matter of doing it. It's the matter of going at being hungry enough for it. What keeps you hungry and motivated?
Ooh. Honestly, I love a good coin. I love getting those invoices. But when I put out a blog, when I speak somewhere, and I get messages from women saying, that's my story, that happened too.
Yes.
When it touches me in a different place, and it reminds me why I am doing what I'm doing.
That's good, because it's so necessary.
Yes.
Yes. What do you feel like is the biggest thing that you bring to the young ladies that you serve?
My realness. Like, I'm honest about when I'm happy, when I'm sad, when I'm frustrated. I'm honest about not being perfect. Like, this week alone, my sister, she had to humble me and have a come to Jesus meeting with me and said, Rosalyn, the platform is growing. You can't get on there and just say what you want to say. Like, and I had to realize, you know what, you're right. So I think it just speaks to them, and knowing that I am, you know, I consider myself to be pretty, sexy, goofy, corny, spiritual, but I like to drink wine and champagne. Like, just being honest about all these different things that goes along to make Rosalyn who she is. Like, people are drawn to that because there are people just like me out there. And if you want to start a brand, I have to say, stay true to yourself.
Yes.
Because there's somebody just like you out there that's going to be drawn to who you are.
I love that. That is it right there. Well, I've got to say, I appreciate you for giving of your time, your heart, your energy, your spirit.
Yeah.
You definitely have so much to give. And I really do pray that you continue to have this passion and this focused mind that you carry, because you really have something dynamic. Absolutely. Pretty Bosses LLC, let's go. Yeah. Come on. You're in Atlanta, right?
I'm in Atlanta, but I have to shout out my team, because without them, I would literally be nothing. So thank you, ladies. Britt, Jazz, Relisha, Ray, y'all are everything. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for humbling me, calling me to the carpet and pushing us further. Like, we are literally nothing without you. I got to shout out the 970 Pretty Bosses. I love y'all. Y'all keep me going. Yeah, that's about it.
I love it. Shout out. Hey, girl. Hey, um, you look, have a beautiful night. And thank you again for sharing this with us. We needed this. We needed what you give, and the world needs it. Keep doing it. Thank you for your nonprofit. Thank you for what you do with the ladies. Thank you for how you're inspiring, because our Black lives not only matter, but they matter enough to do something.
Yeah,
And thank you for doing it. So keep doing it.
thank you.
Indeed. Be blessed. And thank you again for joining us, love. I look forward to seeing you in Atlanta when everything is clear.
Yes, yes, yes.
Take care.
Yes.
And thank you, everybody, for joining in again. This has been another episode of The Heart with the amazing Rosalyn. These are so good. I hope y'all are